What's going on, already? It is Luke, and today we're going to be talking about a really important subject on Amazon, and that is to do with reimbursement. Not only that, the way that I do my inventory adjustment reports, stream them off, take them off, whatever you want to call it, strip them off, maybe I should have said, and send that to Amazon seller support, and then what they will do is give you your reimbursements for things that they have missed. And what I mean by that is that if you have a return from Amazon or they damage products, they're meant to automatically, after about 30 days, reimburse you. So most of the time, if it's a warehouse damage, not a problem. It is flagged in the system, and after about 30 days, the item will disappear from your unfulfillable inventory, which you can go in and actually check to see that, particular items are warehouse damage. They should disappear after 30 days. You should get an email notification for a reimbursement, and it will also show up on your Seller Central account. And, and you're pretty confident that you're getting reimbursed for all the issues that are being caused in the fulfillment center, because obviously you can't see what's going on in the fulfillment center. So you think things are just, in theory, things could be disappearing and you don't know. And what this inventory adjustment report does is it basically strips off and just takes off all that data for a specific period. So you obviously choose the period, and then I will use that data and send it to Seller Central, Seller Support, and they'll go through it and make sure that there's basically reconcile that list is pretty much what they do. They take the list, they reconcile it against current, or like either pending reimbursements already issued, or there is no reimbursement. And they go through all that, and they basically find any transactions that need reimbursing further that have been either missed or for some reason it just hasn't been processed. I'm not entirely sure why the system doesn't pick everything up, but it doesn't, and it never has. So, this has been a thing that's been going on for years, where, it's not really a known thing to do unless someone brings it to your attention. And that happened to me. I was selling for over a year before someone actually said, this is a thing. And you could, there was bigger sellers that went back and made like 5-10 grand because they went back like 1 to 3 years and were able to get so much reimbursed because it's very easy. And I'm going to show you, try to show you here what actually happens and why it's easy for lots of missed reimbursements to occur. So let's just get started and we can actually see what's going on. So as you can see here, the page I'm on is inventory adjustments. So if you want to know where that is, what you do is you go over to reports, fulfillment by Amazon, and when you click that, it will just generically take you over to, I think that's FBA customer returns. That will be the way that basically it will jump you there, and you'll be able to see like the last 24 hours of returns or something. What you want to do is scroll up, and then under inventory here, you see inventory adjustments. Just click that, and you will literally get what was already there. And what you want to do is you want to download a .txt file, which is just a text file, which is like a Word, not even a Word, it's like a notepad file, just text basically. And then what I do is really straightforward. Is I do it for every week. So I do it weekly because in theory, if you're accruing a year's worth of data, it's just going to be, they might even come back to you and say it's too much to go through. It's like 500 transactions. Send it to me in smaller chunks. It just gets annoying, and I want to do it as fast and as efficiently as I can every week. So I want to come up with the best solution. And less time. So I do it every week now. And every Monday morning I'll go on, I'll strip off the data for nothing in the last 30 days. So I'll do this, click download, pretty much. You can see all these different, very interesting, different inventory adjustment data TXT files that I've taken off. So the last period, it's now like a Friday. So the last date I would have stripped it off for was this one here. So this one here that's the date period that I would have taken off for roughly around 7 days. So I always normally do an extra day either side to make sure I'm not missing anything ever. So I don't make sure, if you kind of get what I mean, I'm making sure that I'm just adding, because they can check over something they've already checked before. There's no extra, and it takes you there's no time difference in you just adding an extra day either side of the bracket that you're trying to search for, just to make sure there isn't 1 or 2 not replenishable, so you know what I'm saying. 1 or 2 reimbursements that are missed over years. You're just covering your ass basically. So the last 30 days you can't claim for, and that's because that's sort of their reconcile time. They're able to, within that 30 days, correct an issue, change things that could be related. So if you're like, well, you haven't reimbursed me for this, I'll be like, well, it should happen within 30 days. If it doesn't, then come to us. So that's sort of like it's like, their admin time, like, that's their waiting time that they have to make sure everything's covered. Because obviously it shouldn't, potentially it's not going to be instant. Maybe people have to check the stock, make sure it actually is damaged and all that kind of thing. So they give themselves a 30-day window to do that. So you can't claim anything. So you have to look before that. So let's just go off today's date. Today's date is the 12th of the 6th, 2020. So I come down here and go to exact dates, and I will go, okay, it's the 12th. So what you can do is you can basically type in the date that you want. Oh no, that's really annoying. Well, for some reason my computer isn't actually letting me click that button. But what you do is you click this button here, it gives you the calendar, and then what you go ahead and do is just select the dates that you want. So for example, if it's the 12th of the 6th today, you would go back a month, and then you would look, if I'm doing it way weekly, the last week from a month ago. Pretty straightforward. Then it will come down and just be added to this list down here that you can see, and it will take a little bit of time, a couple of minutes just to populate. And then what you can go ahead and do is click download, and it'll be a text file. And basically, I'm not going to show you all the transactions because you'll see some of the stock I sell, but I'll just put it here, and you can pretty much get a look at how it looks. And it could be as many transactions. It does it. Sometimes it's a couple, sometimes it's loads. It just depends. And all I do is take the whole section of information, literally copy and paste every single piece of information in this list. I then jump over to the Seller Central Help, like this. I come down here to Need More Help, Get Support. Follow this process. Basically, I always go to Fulfillment by Amazon and other FBA issues, nearly on all the things, nearly on everything I'm talking about, because I'd rather have someone. A lot of this is now automated. I'd rather have someone actually do it, and then I would come here and it says, please describe your issue, and you can copy exactly what I say in this if you really want. I go, hi, whatever, good morning, please can you look damage. I always put like a couple of different ones, like carrier damage and all that kind of thing, just to give them the understanding that there's more than one type of potential reimbursement going to come my way. And I say, and that's pretty much it, I think. And thank you for your time. And I'll literally just go and paste that massive transaction log that I copied a second ago into here. I know it says, all this kind of optional, submit in groups of 5. I don't do any of that. And they normally come back in like an hour, so it's not even that much of an issue time-wise. I'll paste it in there, and then I come down here and just go email. I always click the email and just click send, and that is it. And I do that every week. So of course, if you haven't ever done it before, you're like been sending for a year, and you might be like, oh my god, that's gonna be a lot of data. You can do it in months, you can do it in weeks, you can just do it over the next sort of 4 months or 3 months personally. Like you could just take, it's going to take a little bit of time, or you can just give it a go and send all of it and say, look, I know it's going to take a long time, but I'm happy to wait as long as I need to wait basically to get a reply for this because it's important. Just say something like that. Sometimes they will say, come back to you and say, sorry, too much information, it's going to take too long. I think that they may be timed. Sometimes these seller support sort of help guys or girls. So yeah, sometimes that happens. I normally just fire off another email saying, look, I don't really care how long I have to wait, just do it, pretty much. And then normally it gets done. But by doing that, you could save yourself literally, if you're doing 10 grams, that's just give some examples. If you're doing £10,000 a month in sales, the potential inventory adjustment returns per month, let's say, could be about, 300 quid, £200. And that, it could be just because, an example could be, great example is, they actually lose some of your stock. So you might send in 40 units, you sell some. Some are transferred to another fulfillment center, so it sort of splits out under FC transfer, or it goes to reserved. So within about a week, you're not really sure where your stock's been. Has 10 sold, or maybe 11 sold? Do you have 36 in stock? Have you sold the difference? Is there a difference that what you sold, or is there? And before you know it, when you have hundreds of different ASINs doing all sorts of internal movements, you can lose track of the 1 and 2 units here and there and everywhere. Obviously, when you're losing the whole set of stock, 40 units at once or half, big numbers, of course you notice. But the odd unit here and there when you already have a lot of stock is almost impossible to actually track, because even at times things disappear from the inventory, have you ever noticed? And then they reappear at some point. It happens. And that's because things like, well, we'll jump into it now and I'll show you. So if we go back into the fulfillment by Amazon and go back to the inventory adjustment section, I'll actually give you a quick insight into why this happens. Yeah. So if we jump down and we go to inventory adjustments here. So we're going to go, I'm not going to show you the products clearly, but but you can see the reasons. Now I've done this video before, but it's always good to do it again. So you can see here, this is just like a 30-day segment, okay? Well, I'm just going to scroll down where you can't see, there's 5 pages. And if you actually look, you can get a feel for what happens in it. So let's just look at the last couple of days here, all the way up to like here or something. I'm going to get rid of that highlight a bit. So inventory ownership correction. So it says here it's warehouse damage, inventory found, misplaced, inventory found, inventory disposal change. Sorry, disposition, is that? Yeah. No. Yeah, it is. Damage to Amazon fulfillment. Damage at Amazon fulfillment center. And then it's like defective, and then it's like sellable, and then it's so this product here is getting 7 of it is getting moved to defective, and then straight away it's now fine. Just very weird, it's all automated. I'm sure things move, and a lot of that is automated. Obviously, people have to initiate the transaction, the digital side of things. But the computer will pretty much do all this itself, just moving things around. Sometimes it will say, that's not your product. When moving it, I don't know if we can find it. Basically, owner, it will say it's basically moved, expired, and lots of random things. Sometimes you get really weird things crop up here. And that is literally just because things are always happening. I don't, but I've been even to the warehouse and had a look, but it's these kind of things that happen behind the scenes that make you actually realize how big the operation is. And this is the only way to actually fully see what's going on. And like with any business, there's going to be errors. Like definitely when you can see how much is moving around. You're telling me there isn't errors left, right, and centre because of the size and the scale of the operation? Of course there will be. And that's why I cover myself by doing that inventory adjustment report, because just by trusting that they're going to give you all the reimbursements is not really what you want to be doing now that you can see the amount, the volume of transactions. In the last 30 days, I've got, how many's on here? It's probably hundreds of movements. You're telling me there isn't going to be like 5 or 6, random reimbursements or whatever that need to be actioned? Probably that haven't. But of course, if you're doing high volumes, if you're doing 500,000 turnover a year, that kind of thing, you could be losing 10 grand a year. Sorry, 10 grand a year in not profits, because obviously a lot of it will be lost stock. So it won't be like extra money because you would have paid for that stock. That's most probably what's going to happen. So your profits will still be worked out the same. You'll use whatever software you're using, calculate your profits, because your cost of goods, your expenses, you get your profits. But actually, it's the balance sheet side of things. So when you actually go to look at the overall value of the sort of like, if you sold everything, what is the value? You would be down by, 10 grand or whatever. But obviously the profits each month wouldn't relate to the lost products because they're not being sold. So the profits will still relate to the products being sold, but you would be negating or missing the products that are basically not being seen and they'll be disappearing. But obviously they have value, which is your cost of goods value. You paid £4 for that, you paid £10 for that, and that is not profit in itself, but that is lost money on the balance sheet, which means, if you sold everything, what is the business worth? If you just had sold everything on Amazon, had cash in the bank, you'd be and that's where you would have a realized value or you would realize that you've lost that, or you wouldn't even realize at all because you go, okay. And this is exactly why it's really important. And definitely as you scale, you might think at the beginning, it's just like £3 in, but okay. Well, 10 years later, especially compounding that product, meaning selling that product that you've lost, and then using that profit to then buy another one of that item, and then keep going like that. So you're not only losing out on the cost of the good, but you're missing out on the compound effect over like a 5-year period. I'm on my 5th year of Amazon. What happened to if I just was blasé at the beginning, what would actually be the accumulative total net difference on all that? Anyway, I'm going to stop the fancy words and just end here. Anyway, hopefully you had a good insight into some of the goings on of Amazon. These things are easy to just find yourself. You click around and you find some buttons, but it's about really understanding what on earth you're even looking at. And this, I'm sure there's other areas as well of the Amazon, reports page that are really important, and I've just never got there. It's about trying to share, and sort of each person might find something else and then document it and share it in the groups. And then obviously eventually I can get to a point where I'm actually a bit more aware of all these different reports and segments to help basically cover your ass is what you want to do. It's not just about making profits on Amazon. It's about filling all those little holes where you're losing money, I see. And you can definitely double your turnover just by not focusing on the products or the profit, but by basically managing and plugging those holes within the business itself. Gonna leave it there, guys. Hopefully you got some, I always say that, hopefully you got some great insight in the video. No, whatever you want to call it. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.